This is irresponsible. This is irresponsible journalism to me. Because you better believe AT&T shares took some sort of hit because of this. You know, so I don't know. I think as cybersecurity industry and as journalists in the cybersecurity industry, you have to understand the business and livelihood ramifications of posting something like this.
Right. But I mean, it's COE, content over everything. And I'm going to get into it because I'm going to show you. We'll have some hypotheticals of where AT&T could possibly be at fault. Let's go. AT&T is notifying roughly 9 million customers that some of their information was exposed after a marketing vendor was hacked in January. And he knows this. I know this because I pretty much kind of go through this now on a day-to-day. Like being at a new place very shortly and then having to kind of go through these things. Most of the times, it's not the company that you work for. It's like their third-party vendor or someone they own that they work with. That's who you always got to worry about. Then, like for example, when I worked for Goldman Sachs, I was in incident management. So a lot of our questions would be if we find out someone we do business with was breached or hacked, we would always have to figure out, okay, is our data affected? What data of ours do they have? And that's one of the big ones. Because then if that's the case, then you got to figure out how much and what they got access to and who you need to alert. It's like a, I don't know if you call it like an interstate, but it gets pretty interesting when you're seeing, because you're starting to be up to date with how some of these companies are being breached. And sometimes it's simple stuff. Yeah, I kid you not. It's always most of the time something simple when you're actually looking at what happens.
Nah, you're right. And unfortunately, we started seeing supply chain attacks pick up. Over the last, I'll say, well, they've always been a thing, right? When we think about like how Berkeley's network was used to infiltrate the U.S. military years ago in the 80s, right? I posted about that too, the cuckoo's egg. That's a thread on my Twitter. But so we've always seen supply chain attacks. We've always seen bad guys get in through an insecure or vulnerability that exists in one of your downstream or upstream connections. We've seen this, but we've seen it pick up a lot over the last 5 years. I'm excited. I'm curious of why, and I love Bleeping Computer, but I'm curious of why AT&T's name was in this and not the actual person, or in the headline. Why AT&T's name was in the headline and not the actual organization that was compromised.
I'm not curious because I already know how this works. I could think about it. I could put who the actual vendor, but who actually knows the vendor? But people know AT&T.
Right, but like, okay, so now I'm gonna take my cybersecurity hat off, put my investor hat on. If I'm a shareholder in AT&T, I'm pissed at this point. Right? Yeah. This and this topic. This is how the media game goes. This is irresponsible journalism to me. Because you better believe AT&T shares took some sort of hit because of this. So I don't know. I think as cybersecurity industry and as journalists in the cybersecurity industry, you have to understand the business and livelihood ramifications of posting something like this.
Right. But I mean, it's COE, content over everything. And I'm going to get into it because I'm going to show you, we'll have some hypotheticals of where AT&T could possibly be at fault. The information did not contain credit card information, social security numbers, account passwords, or other sensitive personal information. So let's see what it says. While the data breach notification does not share the number of impacted customers, AT&T told Bleeping Computer that approximately 9 million wireless accounts had their customer proprietary network information access. Exposed CPNI data includes customer first names, wireless account numbers, wireless phone numbers, and email addresses. A small percentage of impacted...
I think that's sensitive data. They said no sensitive data. I think that's sensitive data.
Let me see. Is that what they actually said? Yeah, I do too. Because that's like your actual account. A small percentage of impacted customers... Man, I'm tired of these ads, bro. A small percentage of impacted customers also had exposure rate, plan name, past due amount, monthly payment. Dang. So you could potentially...
That's sensitive information, bro.
Bro, if somebody just imagine your electric company got hacked, and now they say, hey, we see you late on your bill. You know, you pay this $150 right now, and we'll make it
We'll
current.
wipe the whole thing out.
Right. Meanwhile, the person, I think it's too good to be true. Like we all know the domain gonna be similar, but some gonna be off with it. But the average person don't know that. So yeah, this definitely. Listen, if I'm them, say, hey man, just let my bill be free for about 3 years. I'm good.
Yeah, that's I don't see again, man. Like, I think this is irresponsible journalism.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've never researched the person who's writing it, right? And a lot of times they also use AI in a sense to help them with some of these things. And so far, the article seems engaging. So I believe that's what they're also going for.
Yeah, this definitely sets people up for SEs though.
Right. We
Or
have
SEs
notified.
are social engineering. I want to make sure we're not using too many acronyms.
Yeah, I assume that they were following us on that one because I think I
Nah,
said it
man, hey,
earlier.
that's the teacher in me, bro. Can't be using acronyms.
But I thought I said social engineering before we
Got to
got
be
into that
clear.
whole little spiel just
Got to
now.
be clear, bro.
We have notified federal law enforcement about the unauthorized access of your CPNI as required by the Federal Communications Commission, aka FCC. Now, let's see. Our report to law enforcement does not contain specific information about your account, only that the unauthorized access occurred, which is typically standard when you're going to alert someone because legal is going to tell you, hey, what you can and cannot do. So they're going to always send like a high level overview of, hey, you just a
Right,
victim.
right.
Customers are advised to toggle off CPNI data sharing on their accounts by making a CPNI restriction or request to reduce exposure risk in the future if AT&T uses it for third-party vendor marketing purposes. I think the bigger issue is like, why do they need that for marketing?
To make money. They're
No,
selling
I
that
understand it,
data.
but I'm saying, why do you need my account numbers? Like, why do they need all that?
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Like, or is it,
I
or it
don't
may be
know.
similar as like when Verizon sends me this message, hey, you can get X amount of money off. Is it actually from Verizon or is it from a third party that's authorized through Verizon to send me these messages? So now I'm kind of
They could be using the account number like an identifier, right?
could be,
Like they could be using the account number like a unique
but
identifier because
couldn't the phone number work as the unique identifier?
good point. Good point.
I'm just trying to see how
Yeah.
they circumvent this in the future because people
Well, the
signed up to
phone
just
number could move between, but the phone number could
that is
move
also
between
true.
customer to customer. The account number probably won't move.
That's also true. It would be similar. We'll say the account number would be the primary key. Just if we're talking about databases, it'd be similar to your
Mm-hmm.
social. So you got a
Yep.
point.
Which again makes it sensitive. That's why I don't understand why this article said no sensitive information. Like I think that's sensitive information.